Good morning. It is a beautiful Saturday, which means one very, very exciting thing, and that is it is a writing day. I cannot wait. We have some delightful things on deck, so if you want to come along and write with me, we can go to a cute coffee shop, get some delicious coffee and lunch, and get some words down on the page. My butt. I was just home for like 3 weeks, but somehow during that time I got like unaccustomed to it, and so we're also walking in the new platform Uggs, which make me feel tall and powerful, but probably more difficult. Home. So that was a delightful start to the day. I got a lot of words in, almost 2,000. I don't know, that's just ballparking it, but very good momentum, and I'm very excited about the direction it's taking and the next steps. I feel like it's always a good sign when you finish a writing session and you know exactly where the characters are going and exactly what you want the direction of the plot to lead in. So that was very promising. Now I'm gonna sit and do some more writing here. Had some good long walks. There was a ton of hills, as you probably saw on the way there, and then I did end up taking the bus back, which is nice. Some time to read and chill, and then ran a few errands before coming home. But now I'm home and sitting at my writing desk, which has not seen nearly enough use. Anywho, so I have this in my little like book nook renovation video, but I have this hammock chair back here, and in it I was debating whether to hang hard behind it or what to do, but it really just takes up so much of the space, and I think it's not quite a good use because there's chairs in the living room that I rather sit and read in and cozy up for a good night. So I'm thinking of selling this. If you're in the area of SF and you want a hammock chair, please let me know. But I want to remove this and then just put the chair that I use for the secretary desk in that corner, and then also hang some art and have it be a better area for filming. So that's my update on that and why this corner hasn't been super functional. I also completely rearranged the bedroom, actually, the rest of that area, right before holiday break. So I think that should be good too. But I guess without further ado, let's get writing. Writing sprint 1 is done. It's now 3:26, as you can see, my little author clock. And I wrote, now I'm at 49,441 words, which is so close to 50,000. I mean, it's basically 50,000. One more writing sprint and I definitely will get there. So that feels really, really good because that feels like kind of a big milestone. And since I'm about halfway, it's a fantasy novel, so it's probably going to end up around 100K. If not, the first draft might go over that or under that. We'll see. But normally I've read so much advice and in a lot of the books in a lot of writing books about just like finishing the first draft and getting all the way through it before you go back and edit anything. And while that is definitely true and can be really helpful, I technically did already write an 80K word version of this and then completely scrapped it and started over. But going back to it, I went on a trip right before the holidays and had a lot of really good like brainstorming discussions about the world building and challenging some of the assumptions I'd made about this kind of like world structure that I'm constructing. And so I think a lot of the things have changed, and even some of the geography has kind of changed a lot since I originally started writing it to make some of the like constructs I wanted for the story to make more sense. And like I read this book called Prisoners of Geography, which was really, really good. Highly recommend it, but it was really helpful in kind of showing how geography shapes our geopolitical landscape in the real world, and it was good to take some inspiration from that on how I wanted to kind of form this world instead of just coming up with a like RNG map on some fantasy website and calling that what the world looks like, you know? But with that and kind of the other changes I wanted to make to the politics and some of the other things, there's definitely a lot that's different from when I started writing even this draft in the beginning. So I've been really considering going back and starting to kind of edit it so it's more consistent with how I'm writing it now, because right now it's, very disjointed, right? Nobody could read this and have it be one kind of like thorough line because just a lot of things have been changing. And I love editing. That's one of my favorite parts. Like getting out the draft is just like so much more painful. It's like pulling teeth for some reason, but as soon as I have something that I can like start cutting up and moving around and like see the through lines, that is where I really thrive. So like I'm just really trying to struggle through and get to that point. All that being said, I think once I hit 50K, I'm going to give myself some permission to go back and do a little editing, because I've already reread the beginning a few times since I've taken some breaks from this manuscript and come back. And so I've like reread it enough where I don't want it to become too stale, so I want to edit it and change it up. So that's kind of the summary of this writing sprint. Very pleased with where it's headed. I think I definitely need to finish this scene and maybe even get to the midpoint, if not 50K, because I'm so close to the midpoint. There's like a few more scenes before we really get to the emotional, meaty part that's going to happen. So it might be good to get to that today. That would be stellar, like really great. And then I know I've been yapping, so I thought I'd give you a different background. But, I got a new chair here. Let me show you. New chair. I had been using our little piano chair, which is basically like a stool, but then I found these, which I forgot we had, which were like our temporary chairs before we had real furniture in this apartment. So that's a win, and I think I'm going to use this from now on. Also, it's kind of the perfect height to also be able to slide under the secretary desk when it's not being used. Also, my iPad's at 30%. I've only been using Pages today. Like, it was charged up like at 80% when I left for the day, and I've just been writing on it. So if anybody has any tips or hacks for making the battery last longer, that would be much appreciated. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about was, can't remember. But anywho, this tea is delicious. You saw my little submarine tea steeper that my brother got me for Christmas. So that's delightful. And at this point, I'm just procrastinating. So let's get back into it. Oh, hello again. Didn't see you there. Second sprint is now done, and I am at 50,284 words, which is pretty good, if you ask me. Definitely past the 50,000 mark, and I'm about like 1 or 2 scenes away from the midpoint, or I'm kind of at the midpoint. I have to finish this scene, and then the next one will be the like big shebang where stuff happens. As you can tell, very technical. I've read a lot of things about this. I know all of the terminology. Anywho, feeling very good about the character dynamics and the banter and where the plot's heading. I think that it's on a really good track, and it's definitely turning way more into like a book I would want to read. And I think my slow progress with this had to do with not writer's block, because I feel like if I look up writer's block or try and read about other writers' thoughts on writer's block, they're always like, it's not real. Like, it's not a real thing. Don't worry about it. Like, just keep writing, whatever. But I think it is a real thing when you maybe have some sort of like unconscious block where like something's not quite fitting about the world or the assumptions you made in your story, and you need to figure it out. So I feel like once I had all these discussions and like made a few changes about the basic building blocks, everything has like fallen into place. And now it's like, oh my God, of course this is what happens. And like, it's way easier to get going. So that's my short rant and qualms about the just like writer's block is not a thing. Like, just keep writing, because sometimes you don't need to keep writing. You need to maybe write like about like brainstorming about the world, or like write supplementary stuff, or keep brainstorming. So all in all, very good mood, feeling very, very optimistic about this. And I have to decide whether I'm just gonna keep writing to the midpoint or start my editing. It's like a little treat, you know? I think I'll write just a little bit more, and then we'll go back. What do you think? Yeah? Okay, let's do it. Time has passed. You may be able to tell because it's completely pitch black outside, so that is a few hours. I ran some errands. I did not execute on any of the ideas I had that we talked about last. No new words, no editing done. Another idea I didn't mention is that this is blank. My cork boards, I never actually filled them with new plot ideas or put the stuff back up on there. So that's another thing that I could do. But I'm going to leave the evening up to interpretation. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off this vlog here. We did some great writing, got some great words down, and overall, it was just a delightful Saturday. And I think a lot of that is due to my new perspective for 2025, which I made a very short video on here. So if you want to see what that is and why 2024 wasn't so great, then go ahead there, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.